I'm Allendale Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with a look at your midday weather update. New model information in. Do we believe it or do we not? Well, let's take a look at what's going on right now across the country and work our way from there. Latest surface analysis has high pressure sitting basically right over the top of Missouri. You got one just to the north of Kansas City. You got one down in the boot heel. So the two together making the center of high pressure circulation. This is a cool high, but not nearly as cold as what we've seen here recently. So we've got a warm front right now starting to lift through the Red River Valley in Texas. You've also got a stationary front out there near the Rockies that is pushing eastward. Those two are going to come together and actually work to form a warm front moving north. Southerly winds will flow behind that to help moderate temperatures quite a bit here over the next few days. We'll start to see that temperature moderation easily across the plains today and through tomorrow. It might take into the weekend before we see the full-blown moderation over a large part of the Corn Belt, but it's coming. Temperatures actually are going to be swinging the pendulum back to near normal. In some places farther west, the plains especially, I think will actually go slightly above normal for this time of year. It's not going to be a runaway, but we'll be above. In the Corn Belt, still jury is out there as to whether or not we can see that full-scale warming or not, but still back to where we at least should be for this time of year, if not better. Well, still looking at a fairly significant frontal boundary that's going to be coming through then as we go through this weekend. Model imagery that I'm looking at right now, and I'll tell you, I really still like the Europeans' development of this. It's been on it. It has not changed for about 3 to 4, almost 5 days now. Still showing low pressure forming near Dallas or just to the east, and then lifting to the northeast, getting plenty of moisture funneled into it on the backside of a strong surface high. So we're going to be seeing this through the day. Saturday developing the heaviest rains in Texas and Oklahoma. Probably going to be seeing some offshoot cloud cover just thanks to that moisture coming off the Gulf and wrapping around the backside of the high as we go through Saturday right up through the Great Lakes region. But then we'll see the low lift out of Texas move to areas just north of St. Louis and probably more toward the Quad Cities as we go into Sunday afternoon, then moving to Rockford, Illinois, and then eventually heading toward Green Bay. The low will be strengthening as it moves up the front. By the time it hits Green Bay, it will be a monster in terms of circulation. Very tight winds packed around it. You can expect a very, very windy finish to the weekend and a very windy start to Monday across a large part of the Corn Belt. I like all moisture at this point staying liquid, and I still like, for the Corn Belt, anywhere from a half to 1 1/4 inches of rain, with coverage about 80% of the Corn Belt. I even think we see decent rains that'll push toward that half-inch mark all the way up into parts of Minnesota. Where we're going to have to pay close attention to precipitation type will be there in Minnesota and up into parts of northern Wisconsin. The cold air doesn't come racing in on the backside, but there will be some around. So maybe we'll have to keep an eye out for some snow as the system ends. For example, as the low crosses Lake Superior Monday afternoon toward Monday evening, I'm still seeing some good wraparound coming through northern Minnesota. I can't say that that won't be snow at this point. There is a potential that it could mix with or change to snow. And that low is still so strong, it crosses Superior and then kind of meanders through central to south central parts of Ontario. I think that's going to keep cloud cover and maybe some on-again, off-again moisture top of mind in the Great Lakes region, probably through Tuesday night. By Wednesday, though, we should be clearing out. At this point, Thanksgiving Day looks like it's going to be okay. Some lingering moisture, or at least a little clipper kind of system trying to work through the Great Lakes. Might increase cloud cover, might produce some minor precipitation. I guess I'm not sold on that right now. But what I am sold on is a fairly substantial system coming out of the plains again as we go into Black Friday. And this is going to be coming with a fairly significant push of cold air. So we're not seeing this being as much low pressure driven now as it is Arctic high pressure driven. That's one minor change that the European has made. We used to see about 3 to 4 days ago this system for Black Friday starting as a low, for example, in New Mexico and then kind of ripping northeast. Well, now there's still a weak low down there, but we're actually seeing the cold air advancing from the northwest driving this more. So I'm looking at a fairly substantial cool down. That means that we probably will see some liquid precipitation for Black Friday, particularly in the southern part of the Corn Belt, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, back through Arkansas, Missouri, and even back into the southern plains. But I think the cold air comes faster, that it pushes the best heavy rains. If you recall, we had been talking for maybe up to 1.5 inches of rain out of this system. It's pushing those farther south. So for the lower Mississippi River Valley and across the deep south as we go through, we'll need to watch this fairly closely, though, because we actually are seeing a secondary low then once the cold air is in play coming out of South Texas and coming up the front. The front will be through most of the Corn Belt, but right now the European also tries to put some wraparound moisture in, a fairly substantial swath of moisture near St. Louis and across central Illinois. If that would happen to be in the cold sector, which is possible, we could be looking at some wraparound backside snow of some significance there. I don't like to make that full jump just yet because up to this point I really actually have preferred a warmer solution. The cold air is going to be there, but the big question mark just is does the precipitation happen in the cold air or does it happen before the cold air is able to get there? Right now, I'd say we're going to be very, very close on that one. Very close. But if I look in advance and say maybe we need to change something, I would say that we would have to change it more toward that snow solution. So this is still 9.5 to 10 days out. Plenty of time for it to change. We've seen a few tweaks already. We're just not going over the top. Longer term, still looking at another system in there around the 5th, 6th, 7th of December. The thing is, we're still looking at colder than normal temperatures coming in for December. Anybody that's talking about this warm-up as being the big deal here this weekend through next week, through Thanksgiving, you're missing the point. We've got a significant cold down coming for December. We've been talking here about a warm-up coming, yes, but it wasn't going to be prolonged. Normal temperatures is all we were really looking at, and then we thought we'd fall back off, and it really looks like early December is going to do that. So we'll see cooler air coming for December. That means any activity that we see for that month likely is going to gravitate back toward snow. So that's what we've got in your forecast here at midday. If you've got any questions on the weather, feel free to give us a call at Allendale. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.